Here's an update to the Archie Sonic comics. And this is from an interview with Ian Flynn from.
Well, basically, Ian Flynn's the guy in charge of
What's
the
his,
whole thing.
what's his name? Who it was.
I don't know. I can't remember. But basically, Ian Flynn's the one you go to.
SSF 1991 is wrote the article on TSSC. You can read the whole article there. And the thing is, Ian Flynn just says, I've heard we should get some Sonic news by the end of July.
Yes.
So how long has it been now?
Oh, God, I'm trying to think. When did they stop?
5-6 months now.
Really?
I think we've had one since January.
Wow. Oh, boy.
So right now, Archie is still in limbo.
Yeah, we'll put it this way. The negotiations of whether they continue is about the same as, whether England should pull out of Europe or not. It's pretty much been the same sort of, should we not? I don't know. Give me the money. No, sod off. So, same different things.
Yeah, there's basically a few questions like this. When I asked him, say, looking up to meet Ian Flynn at a convention, asked him about the comic. Short answer was he doesn't know anything, but expects news in July. When I asked him about it seemed like he generally didn't know anything. He seemed particularly frustrated, telling me it's been kind of bad for me because I haven't had any work in 6 months. So even if you could say, oh, they're probably just backed up on all the comics, so here's the solicitations, here's what's coming out. Like, no, there's been nothing. No,
it's been grind to a halt.
Have been released. Like, yeah, we had the covers, either they're just put on hold, but we still have 6 months of absolute nothing. Nothing's been put on backlog.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned, with licensed comic, they can disappear at any point. Obviously, we've seen many times with other stuff, like the Mega Man stuff stopped a while ago.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that
just
happened.
After Worlds Unite, it just stopped.
Yeah, they decided, no, that's enough. Capcom want their stuff back.
It's it, and no, apparently Mega Man's on hiatus as well, but hopefully not as long. But Mega Man's been on hiatus for over a year now, hasn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, let's be fair. When's the last time we saw anything to do with Mega Man properly? That wasn't 9 or 10.
Mega Man Legacy on 3DS and Xbox One.
All right. Okay.
This is 1 through 6. That's all it is.
Okay.
Right. Oh, I got I'm confused on that. It's like, oh, yeah, I got a brand new Xbox One with 4K resolution, and it's gonna be fantastic. What am I gonna play? I'm gonna play an 8-bit game on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play an entire collection of 8-bit games. That's what I'm gonna do.
Hooray!
Yeah, but that's how people are different,
This is going to be a very short update on the Archie thing, but so it's basically even Ian Flynn has no idea when the hell we're going to get any new news or any new comics of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
Mega Drive. Mega Drive is probably still cancelled, but other issues of the main series have been cancelled. Even he has no idea. There was a bird right outside the freaking window.
I was going to say, I heard that clicking.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, fans, because you don't get this in other podcast shows.
Yeah. But if you're gonna try and communicate with him, honestly, again, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
No work, no new comics, just
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst thing, is often when you're working on something and then you hit a brick wall, or in this case, you've hit a brick wall that's got a door and it's permanently shut and the person won't open it. And again, it's weird because, again, we pointed out, this is one of Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the longest running video game-based comics ever to be made. So it just seemed weird why now there's an issue about should we continue or not. And even then, it just feels weird that everybody. I do get a feeling that maybe by the end of this year we'll get a bigger story of exactly what happened with the whole deal. Why did it took so long for it being on hiatus or getting canned? And really, what was the point of it? Because I do think it's a bit odd in the same way, like we said this before, I think, with the Sonic Comic UK one, was that we didn't know that got canned. Ironically, they continued, like everything was still fine and dandy by suckering us in with new covers when they were just reprints of old issues. And this one, it's really the case of, we want to know, they don't know, we don't know. Hell, if anybody knows, unless they're in the business meeting.
It's the higher ups at Archie Comics.
Exactly, and like
the only people who know, and the only people who've been dragging this thing out. Like, just renew the license, give us the comics, and if it's gonna want to end the license, and just end the license.
I know, exactly.
It's not like Activision, where all of a sudden you have to realize, oh, we paid for 16 years of worth of games, so we're going to fuck over the last entry of this.
Yeah, I mean I'll probably end with this story. I mean, in terms of things getting hold for such a long time and nobody's working on it. I mean, this is nothing new. In fact, gaming development does this all the time. In fact,
Yeah,
here's a
like
story.
look at Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Exactly, but I'm going to use Team 17 as an example because, all right, years ago they worked on a Leisure Suit Larry game, which was announced, I think, early like 2007 or whatever. It was planned to be a big 3D, sort of modern day adventure game type deal. And, it was a big project for them. It was the first time they used the Unreal Engine, it was a different license, and it was a pretty ambitious project. And at that point, they'd gotten in like about halfway through to the game being playable in a state. And then the whole thing happened with Sierra, that they got bought out, and then the Activision and Blizzard thing happened, and basically all the games under that license were told to be on hold. Team 17 would literally say, "You can't touch it." It's like, what do you mean? It's like, you got to get off the project, leave it now, and move on to something else. It's like, well, yeah, but the game's not finished. It's like, this stuff needs to be done. It's like, you can't touch it, sorry. And about a few months later, I think, or half a year later, I think eventually Codemasters or someone picked it up in the state that it was. And it was pretty much the case of, dude, you really can't let this game out. It's not finished. It really is not finished. It's like, oh God. And this is the worst thing I think about the whole business side of stuff. I mean, I'm not an expert, but it just always feels like this is what really drives home a lot of things never happening. It's all to do with somebody wants the money, or the business meeting happens, or somebody can't make the lunch time or whatever. So it always suffers. It's always like it has a ripple effect on a mass scale. And I think this is the worst case scenario, is that you end up with something just either complete trash or just it's stopping suddenly for no reason at first.
Yeah, the last time this kind of thing happened was when Ken Penders did the lawsuit, when like they had the whole reboot, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
I know that business.
three like years work, like I think it's like 3 months of work had to be redone.
Yeah, they did. They had to do it on the fly. Yeah. So again, this thing happens a lot, but it's always annoying because it always comes down to, if it comes down to the case of somebody wants the money or wants more money, it's like, oh, for God's sakes, can't you just let it happen? Can't we just
Yeah,
get on with our lives and let things go on? There's enough trouble in the world, so we don't need this shit
yeah. But
happening.
from the last video on the Archie thing, we've got higher ups at Archie who don't want to shell out money to renew the license, even though it's one of the
Mm,
biggest sellers, so comic
yeah,
sellers. We've got
yeah,
Sega who may not want the comics to continue, but it could be down to Sega Japan, not Europe or America.
exactly. I mean, there's different divisions of
Yeah.
Sega, so
Yeah, the license to the Sonic name could have increased over time, which is
yeah,
natural because of inflation.
yeah.
And
I mean, again,
there's
with
many factors into this. But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I
at the
mean,
end of the day, the people who are actually suffering the most are the fans who want this to either continue or to at least have a decent ending.
yeah, you want to round it off. I mean, the last thing you want to do is leave them with a cliffhanger and then never tell them what happens, or then 10 years later say, well, I had this idea that we're going to do this and that, and it would have been great, but we never got the chance, did we? And we'll end up with a SAT-AM problem all over again.
Yeah. I just noticed there was a previous uh, stunt on Archie Comics about 2 weeks ago on the anniversary.
Mm.
Mega Drive 3 is in the works if or when the comics return.
Yeah,
So that was from Matt Herms,
yeah,
who works on the comic.
yeah.
So I just almost completely missed that.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, there has been some rumors saying that it could continue if we can. We don't know. We hope.
Yeah, because at least like the comic ended on a decent ending.
At least it ended on a nice sort of
The official
yeah.
ending, not the real ending, was basically, hey, here's Flicky's Island and the introduction of the Dracon Empire.
Yeah, yeah, not the reissue of that story. It was really the case of we finished the Chaos Saga, the whole shebang with Supersonic's been dealt with, and as the last panel has, it has them standing out on a bright new era for a new day, which, unless you go to the the online comic series, it feels like a nice way to end off.
Hmm. So, yeah, Archie still up in the air. Don't know when. Sega, Archie higher ups, just fucking do something with it, please.
Yeah, something. I mean, the only thing we got now is that we've got until July. That's when we'll know whether it's do or die.
Yeah,
That's all.
end of July, we've got another, as of this recording, about another 20 or so days.
A few days. So, it is coming, but it is coming.
But if not, we'll do another video on it.
Yeah, and then we'll do the death of the Archer series or the rebirth of the Archer series. Who knows? Let's see what happens.
Hmm.